Hey guys, how you doing? This is JP Saricolia coming to you once again with another episode of Age of Heroes, my podcast. And today I want to talk about, I want to talk about something that is actually touching me in a more deeper way, I would say. Perhaps it's just more something that I've been thinking and considering for the past couple of days. As you know, of course, on last week we had a video, of course, introduction or a trailer, which pretty much a movie of Mortal Kombat 11. And of course, a lot of people are excited. I'm excited too. I'm not going to say that I'm not. I always like this type of games. Anything that has to do with nostalgia or anything that has to do with, with some of those franchises that I grew up with. I'm not going to tell you that I'm such a big fan, 100%, into Mortal Kombat, that I'm the type of person that am a die-hard fan, that I will just give my kidney for it. It's never been the case. I've always been more into Street Fighter, King of Fighters. Yeah, those were the type of games the fighting games, Samurai Showdown. Those are the games I really enjoyed the most back in the 90s. And I did play Mortal Kombat when it came out back in 1992. I was a teenager. I did play it. I enjoyed it. It was a tough game. I prefer actually Killer Instinct when it came out afterwards by Nintendo. So those are the things that I grew up. I grew up in the arcade. So yes, I know a lot of people are dissatisfied with this presentation. You see that also with Tekken. You see with a lot of the game systems nowadays. You see these trailers, cinematic trailers, which they look great and cool and very nice, but there's no gameplay, and it doesn't really match up what you go into the game. So, I was thinking about it. We had a conversation. I have my video reaction of it. And of course, a friend of mine posted, and I do agree with a lot of things he said. And, and I know he's dissatisfied and he was discontent about this. He feels that, game companies are not really producing what they used to. And you get in just nerfed down versions of these games that, we grew up loving, and they were not easier back in the day. And not only that, I've been playing other games. I've been doing like some Call of Duty 4. I haven't streamed any of those yet. I'm just kind of getting my feet wet with the game. And I was playing, and it's another Call of Duty, but playing Call of Duty, and actually I played some of the Mortal Kombat XL over the weekend as well, and I did play some Marvel vs. Capcom, and you saw the streaming part, and I did play some other games. I really didn't did much gaming this weekend, but I did some throughout the weekend. So I was playing, Mortal Kombat, and, I like XL because I'm talking about Mortal Kombat. I'm talking about, Call of Duty 4. But let's go back to Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 4 XL. I'm sorry. It's of course the expanded version of Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 10. Very good, very fun. I really kind of enjoyed it. It has a lot of variations. It improves upon the previous one, Mortal Kombat, that came out, of course, the reboot of the whole thing that came out for the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I did enjoy that one a lot. I played that more. And the X, I didn't play it as much. The XL version, of course, has everything that was added. And it does have better mechanics. It's more... it feels more fluid and all of that. At the same time, it feels that it's nerfed down, which makes it easier for newcomers to come into this system and play it. Which, I know some people, especially hardcore fans, are the ones that grew up with it. They feel that that's, disappointment with the game. Now, going into Call of Duty, I felt the same way. Call of Duty, it's always been a tough game. It's always been a fast-paced game. And that's one of the parts where I feel that it's okay. But, and you have to have a certain level of skill, But the problem with the system, particularly nowadays with Call of Duty and most shooter games, is no longer your ability or your skill or how much time you put into it to learn the mechanics of a game, and it's more about your basic skills. It is geared towards more about learning the curve appeal, learning pretty much the sidelines, learning the shortcuts of the game system. And it's more about what do you have into the car system or the improvements that you added to whether it's your cars. It's more like a gamble. I don't know if I'm explaining myself clear on this. It's more about what do you add that gives more value. So it really pushes you to purchase more points, and this is battle packs in this case. I think they call it something different in Call of Duty. You buy more of this, so you can get all those packs where you can get some extra, not only attachments, but you get extra features that allow your player to be much better in the field. And I was just getting frustrated with it because, I'm here shooting, I'm a very experienced with shooters. I've been playing shooters for many years now. So I'm running around and I'm just shooting with my guns to these people. They're like bullet sponges. They take in all the bullets. You can just release your entire magazine and they don't die, and they just shoot you once and you're dead. And you may say, well, you lack the skill. Maybe they were able to shoot better than you. But I'm not a bad shooter. I'm not a bad shooter. I know how to shoot. The fact that they are able to do it is not because, they're more capable than you. It's because they have better armor than you, or because they have some other extra things than you that gives them the extra edge in the game. And of course, Call of Duty has become that, where as long as you know the shortcuts and you know how to kind of tweak the system or how to take advantage of the system, then you can be a better player. Not necessarily that you are the better player because you are a good shooter. Because most of these kids, well, put it this way, if we're going into paintball, or something like that, they will not make the cut. They will not make it to be able to survive. And that's one of the reasons why I prefer Battlefield, have always preferred Battlefield over Call of Duty. Of course, Call of Duty is very addictive, it's very fast-paced, but it's hard to keep up in a game that actually makes it easier for everybody to be at the same level. Everybody's at the same level. As long as you have some extra features, or some extra weapons, or some extra, some type of weird grenade that does some weird stuff, then you're able to win some battles, with more advantage, like sending somebody. And I've always called that because it's not a battle of who is the first to shoot or who's the better shooter at first or who's more tactical about it. It's about who has the extra features that allow you to win, or that you have a dog or you have some type of, things or features or whatever, electrical bombs or whatever that can allow you to win. So that really made me think about the way gaming in general is being geared towards in this modern era. It's more about allowing, nowadays, the system is nerfed down compared to when I grew up, and that goes back to the arcades. When I was playing the arcades, when I used to play in the arcades and fighting games, I'm moving from, of course, now first shooters to fighting games. You just have to learn in the process. You have to go through the grind. You have to put your money where your mouth was, and you have to go through your quarters. You have to put your money in it, and you have to learn. And sometimes you have to wait your turn and move on and wait and you have to really learn. And sometimes the people that your foes in the arcades were your friends. And you learn from them. And there's always that kid that was very good at it and you always wanted to beat. You always wanted to be better than him and you tried your best. And it was a no takes prisoner scenario. You are there, just to lose or to win. And if you want to be on top, you need to be better than anybody else. So it's not like guiding you through the process, so you have to learn the technique. You have to be more patient. Now, of course, fighting systems, like I can see the Mortal Kombat. I can even see that with, Marvel versus Capcom, Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom and the Infinite version and all these new game systems nowadays. They're very flashy. You have this flashy moves, which makes it nicer, like a nice movie, but they lack the substance to keep those entertaining systems to make it more technical or tactical, to be able to be a much better player just because of your own technique. Because back in the day, there was no guide-throughs. There were no walkthroughs. There was no way you can watch a video so you can learn how to do these moves and how to do these techniques. You have to figure it out on your own. And it was very enlightening and it was very good. And it was a great experience just to learn. You have to learn. You have to move through the things. And the same happens with a lot of the first-person shooters when they came out. I remember a lot of first-person shooters were tough. One shot, one kill. You're talking about SOCOM and all those games, they were really, really hard. But we have come to a place where we are gotten easier in gaming. And that goes for fighting games and also got for first-person shooters. You give all this tacticals that are not in the field, they're not part of the field, and you go and throw, and you can revive people, and you can revive yourself, and you can throw these weird bombs, and you're trying to make it tactical, and supposedly this is a real war. It is not, and the system has a spawn system, and that's something that I always say about Call of Duty, spawn system that is unclear. You never know. You shoot somebody, you might get shot in the same place, but you're gonna always appear at the back of the person that shot you. So it's always going to be, so you have to learn the quirks of this system so you can be a better player. It's just to learn the shortcuts of the system. Take advantage of the shortcuts. Take advantage of those glitches in the system that are there, and there for a purpose, just to make the game very chaotic. And that to me is the downfall of this game system. It's the downfall of this. Yes, I love that newcomers are allowed to come. I think that gaming should be for everyone. I believe that, it's not about me. It's not about just pleasing me because, I want the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, or any other game system to survive, to sustain itself for the next generations. I want to see this evolve, but I want that evolution, not that the system itself guides you through the process, because the same with first-person shooters, it guides you through the process where, whether you can crouch and move faster while you're crouching, or, you can choose the ability to, to shoot, pretty much out of hip very quick and, get a headshot in just a second without just really even planning to get the headshot. All of those systems make things a lot easier for newcomers and for newbies and for everyone to learn just the quirks of it, just the glitches of the system itself, but not necessarily to really get, the skills to be better shooters or to be better things, because I see these people running around with, with the scopes in a rifle, and they're able to shoot you while you just kind of like, you empty your whole magazine and you just don't get a clear shot, even though they took all the bullets, even in the head, and they don't die, but they just get one because they have a more powerful bullet, because they chose that ability within the system and that allows them to pretty much get a kill, or because they streak kills, because they have kill few and they know the streak kills are more dangerous after a couple of kills. All of that is just a disadvantage to the whole system, in my opinion, just in Call of Duty. I'm not saying that I'm not disliking some of the things there. I do enjoy Call of Duty. I do play Call of Duty. But there are times where I feel that the same system, it's in itself, it brings disadvantages and only allows those that are able to play this for too long, to put a lot of time in it, to kind of learn the way the system is placed. The way the system kind of deviates from the reality. So you're able to learn those quirks and you're able to supposedly become a better player, but not necessarily a better player. You just learn the quirks of the system. And that's the reason why some of these players, they might do well in this game system, but then you move them into another one, they're unable to perform. Battlefield players are not able to perform in Call of Duty and vice versa, and that goes from there's some instances, some cases where people kind of have to learn the quirks of every system, but for the most part, not everyone is good in every single game. You have to learn the quirks of that. And that's, to me, that's the disadvantage of some, in this case, first-person shooters, or many first-person shooters in the market. You have to learn the quirks of that particular system that has nothing to do with the real life scenarios, and you have to be good at that and to learn to operate on that, but you have to kind of deviate in another system, which is understandable in part, but at the same time it feels that it's just not the right approach to gaming. Yes, I love playing these games. At the same time, I feel that in many ways, all these flashy moves and all these flashy bombs and all these flashy guns and all of that, it doesn't really add substance to the games. It doesn't advance. You get the same Call of Duty time and time again. It's year after year is the same Call of Duty with just some little tweaks here and there, little changes, added bonuses, but nothing major. You get the same thing over and over again. The same way we got the same Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 pretty much are similar. The only difference is the guns and some things are being tweaked, but for the most part, it's the same game. The same way, even when I play Street Fighter 4, it's pretty much the same as Street Fighter 5 in many ways. It's just better graphics, but the mechanics are still the same, have been improved. In the same way, I believe that Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat XL, they are just expansions of what was already there. Nothing new, nothing that breaks the mold, nothing that really changes everything. But in many ways, it is flashier, it's nicer looking, it has better graphics, more movies, more stuff here and there, but it lacks the substance because technically it's just a nerfed down version of what it used to be, because now it's easier to pull up moves, it's easier to pull, to operate certain things and do some things here and there. Not necessarily that it has to do with it's skill based. It's more like, gamble based, whatever you have, what you added to your character or your loadout weapons that makes the difference. And that to me, it's a bit mischievous in one way and not completely honest at the end of the day. It's not completely honest, because technically you're not winning because you're better. You're just winning because maybe you have more money to put into it. And, and that's something that, games like Battlefield and Battlefront have, pretty much you win, you pay to win. And here, even though it's not as clear, and I said that in a previous, podcast, episode, you are, even though they masquerade, even though they're saying that they're not doing it, they masquerade the system. So you have to put your money into it so you can acquire the abilities or the skills within the game that allow you to win and to be a better player. So it is what it is, But once again, thanks for listening to my podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the notification button so you're reminded of every video. And please consider to support this channel and support my podcast through my Patreon account. So the links are below. So once again, thank you and God bless you. I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.